Alrighty then, here we are once again. Welcome. This is session number 132, and Kevin Reads A Course in Miracles. We are still in chapter 16, entitled The Forgiveness of Illusions, and today we are on section 6, Roman numeral 6, VI, the bridge to the real world, on page 345 in the text. All righty then. And one of the reasons why I like reading this course is because I still do. I like poetry, and I like writing that uses metaphor and symbols, and that there's something beyond the exact word that was chosen, things like that. So this idea of a bridge, okay, is a metaphor, right? It's a bridge, right? And later on in this section, Jesus is going to tell you that the bridge is nothing more than a transition in the perspective of reality. All right, so once again, it's a wonderful metaphor for having our perspective changed, all right, the way we see the world. Help me to see it correctly. So we ask for that change of perception. Okay, let us begin. Paragraph 1. The search for the special relationship is the sign that you equate yourself with the ego and not with God. For the special relationship has value only to the ego. To the ego, unless a relationship has special value, it has no meaning. For it perceives all love as special. Yet this cannot be natural, for it is unlike the relationship of God and His Son. And all relationships that are unlike this one must be unnatural. For God created love as He would have it be, and gave it as it is. Love has no meaning except as its Creator defined it by His will. It is impossible to define it otherwise and understand it. Okay? So this chapter is intense in its focus on the special relationship. Right? It's that seeking outside myself for what it is I think I need. Okay? And the first special relationship was with the ego. Right? I felt as though I was lacking something, and the ego goes, I know what you need. I had a friend of mine who would always say, you know what would be good for you? And he would come out with something outrageous. All right, got to get a big dog and walk it in Central Park on Sundays. All right? Oh my goodness. Chicks dig dogs, he would tell me. All right? Oh my goodness. But that's what the ego does. It entices us. You need something. You have psychological and physical need. Here's how you fulfill that. And in this ego thought system, in this world, we go searching to complete that need, to fulfill that need. All right? When I turned my back on who I really was, I automatically felt less than. Something was missing. And the ego said, I'll take care of that. First, we'll hook you up with a body. All right? And then we project out of the mind into a body, and the world, the universe. And as Dr. Wapnick, who was very proud of this saying, once said that the world is a maladaptive solution to a non-existent problem. Okay, and there you have it. And that's what we do. We continually search for these solutions outside of ourselves, all right? Outside the mind, in other words. And the search for the special relationship is the sign that you equate yourself with the ego and not with God. All right? Now, Jesus is not pointing a finger at you, saying, you know, you really should hate yourself for doing that. No, just notice. Just notice. This is what I'm doing. All right? Without judgment. If you could do that without judgment, you're halfway there. All right? There's no need to, kick yourself in the butt, saying, I've been doing this for so many years. Or even if you haven't, if you just started to read this and catch on, don't worry. All right? You don't have to fly into a big flurry of activity and change yourself. All right? I mean, certain behaviors could be changed if they're hurting you. If they're hurting you and your family and everybody else you love, it might be a good idea to change that behavior. But other than that, it's like observe your everyday behavior, your thoughts. Right? Because the special relationship has value only to the ego. Right? To the ego, unless a relationship has special value, it has no meaning. All right? Because all love is special to the ego. All right? It's all individual. I'm special. I need it this way. This is what will help me. All right? He says, yeah, God is the one that defines what love is. All right? And if our relationships are not that, then they're unnatural. Okay? Love is freedom in paragraph 2. Love is freedom. To look for it by placing yourself in bondage is to separate yourself from it. For the love of God, sounds like Chris Farley. For the love of God, all right, no longer seek for union in separation, nor for freedom in bondage. As you release, so will you be released. Forget this not, or love will be unable to find you and comfort you. So just repeating a major theme, a major message in the Course in Miracles. As you release the other from guilt, right, you will be released. All right? So forget this not. All right? Because if you forget it, love will be unable to find you. Remember, that's poetic and it's metaphoric. Because love is in your mind. It's always there. Okay. These are some of the blocks that we put that impede our awareness of the fact that we are love. Okay? And he says love is freedom. Right? To look for it by placing yourself in bondage is to separate yourself from it. Right? So believing that I separated from love, I put myself in bondage, right, to the ego thought system. Right? I mean, really, this world, you sometimes you even feel trapped sometimes, right? Because no matter how hard you try, nothing works. Nothing works, and if it works, it doesn't last forever. All right? So he says, for the love of God, no longer seek for union in separation. So don't look for what's going to complete you, so to speak, in this world of separation. Right? Don't look for freedom in bondage. Right? And he says it, as you release, you will be released. As you forgive, you will be forgiven. All right? We just enter the process of forgiveness. We're not the ones that pronounce someone forgiven. We just are willing to see the correct perception of that person. All right? He says, and as you do that, you will be released. Okay? Paragraph 3, this is a way in which the Holy Spirit asks your help. Well, I must be reacting to something here. Let me start that paragraph over. There is a way in which the Holy Spirit asks your help, if you would have his. The Holy Instant is his most helpful aid in protecting you from the attraction of guilt, the real lure in the special relationship. You do not realize that this is its real appeal, for the ego has taught you that freedom lies in it. Yet, the closer you look at the special relationship, the more apparent it becomes that it must foster guilt and therefore must imprison. Okay? So he says the Holy Instant is the Holy Spirit's most helpful aid in protecting you from the attraction of guilt, which is the real lure, which is the real appeal of the special relationship. So the Holy Instant, you go to your mind, right, and you just have the desire to meet with your guide. You have your desire to meet with your higher self, the Holy Spirit, with Jesus, all right, something that is outside of this ego world. It's beyond it. And we go to that part of the mind that remembers it. And he says, this is the Holy Spirit's most helpful aid in protecting you from the attraction of guilt, because the more we go there and ask for help, and seeing our world correctly, right, the attraction of guilt will decrease. And this attraction of guilt is basically the attraction to believe that you separated from God. Right? And now you need things. You're lacking things. So we look to have relationship with whatever is going to fulfill that need, be it a person, place, or thing. Okay? Yet, he says, within that relationship, there's the bondage. Because sooner or later, the guilt creeps up. Right? Because it's not the true love that God extended and that you are, right? We think we're missing that, so we go looking for it. And, you know, within those relationships, there's, you know, the give and take. You know, sometimes I like it, sometimes I don't. You know, and we're told that it's just natural that you get angry. You get angry at your special partner, right? But then, you know, you come back to the forgiveness, all right? Which means you just let it slide. You push it down. You repress it, all right? So, but it continues, and the guilt creeps back up, all right? And, you know, that guilt, it disguises itself with the major guilt is that I separated from heaven. I thought I separated from heaven. That's what I believe. But it comes out in ways that, you know, I'm not enough. I don't have enough. I'm not good looking. I'm not whatever. I'm lacking something, right? I don't have enough energy, right? I don't like ballet. She likes the ballet. Whatever, you know, it creeps up, right? Yet the closer you look at the special relationship, the more apparent it becomes that it must foster guilt, and therefore it must imprison you. Okay? All right? Even if I have a special relationship with my job, you know, I go to my job every day, right? And there are people that love their jobs, you know, but there are people that use the job so they don't have to look at anything else. They don't have to engage in anything else. And sooner or later, the guilt creeps back in, you know. Whatever activity you're engaged in. All right? And so therefore this relationship is really, it's imprisoning you. All right? Because if you don't do it, then oh my God, the guilt comes up. Paragraph 4, the special relationship is totally meaningless without a body. If you value it, you must also value the body. And what you value, you will keep. The special relationship is a device for limiting yourself to a body and for limiting your perception of others to theirs. The great rays would establish the total lack of value of the special relationship if they were seen. For in seeing them, the body would disappear because its value would be lost. And so your whole investment in seeing it would be withdrawn from it. Okay? And, well, the great rays, it's the Christ. It's who you are, right? It's the glory of your true nature. Okay? He says if you realize that, right? When it comes up in your mind, right, it would just make the special relationships meaningless. It would make your body meaningless. Okay? Because the body limits the perception of others, yourself and others, because we see them in bodies, and that's what that's our starting point. You know, this body looks that way. Unbelievable amount of judgments and calculations go into that. The minute you perceive someone, the second you perceive someone, we're putting them in different categories and and it's just notice you're doing that, all right? Sometimes as we walk through this world, it's useful, okay? You walk down the street early in the morning on a Sunday morning in Manhattan, you might have to start analyzing a body that you see coming toward you from a block away. Right? It's just a matter of safety for the body. Okay, that's what happens. You know, you don't have to, deny. You don't have to deny that. Okay, sometimes you keep analyzing that body coming toward you, and you just might cross the street. Okay, just a matter of safety. No, not really judging. You just want to avoid any unpleasantry. Okay? But that's what we do. We just automatically start analyzing and putting it into different selections and sections, right? What is happening? Okay? And that's a natural thing for the body to do. But Jesus says, if you saw the great rays, all of that would be meaningless. It would just be meaningless to you. Right? And that's one of the reasons why we go through this course rather slowly, personally speaking. But I think most people do that because we become afraid of the great rays. As I said earlier on in these sessions, we become afraid of being abstract. We become afraid of being spirit because we're so associated with the body, with the physical form, the body and the senses and all that. That's why Jesus says the holy instant is the greatest aid that the Holy Spirit has to help us. If we can retreat into the mind and say, help me to see this correctly. Right? Little by little, we are less drawn to the ego and more desirous of crossing the bridge, so to speak, seeing this whole experience correctly. Okay? So he says, if the special relationship is totally meaningless without a body, if you value it, you must also value the body. And what you value, you will keep. All right? But it's a device for limiting you. All right? The body, the special relationship, limits us. We're not seeing ourselves as the offspring of God, the child of God, the Christ, the great rays. We're seeing this. Okay. Oh my goodness. All right. If you saw the great rays, the body would disappear because its value would be lost. And so your whole investment in seeing it would be withdrawn from it. Paragraph 5, you see the world you value. Okay? It's just a statement. Just a statement, not pointing any fingers. On this side of the bridge, you see the world of separate bodies, seeking to join each other in separate unions and to become one by losing. When two individuals seek to become one, they are trying to decrease their magnitude. Each would deny his power, for the separate union excludes the universe. Far more is left outside than would be taken in, for God is left without, and nothing is taken in. If one such union were made in perfect faith, the universe would enter into it. Yet the special relationship, the ego, does not include everyone, even one whole individual. So the ego doesn't include even one whole individual. The ego wants but part of him, and seeing only this part and nothing else. So what he's saying is that we see in a person, a place, a thing, something that will fill what's missing in us. Okay? And that's what we look to join with. Okay? That's what he means by we diminish ourselves, first of all, because we're seeing ourselves as lacking. All right? And he says they join each other in separate unions and to become one by losing. All right? I'm losing who I really am. And I'm saying, look, you or it or whatever it is, you are the one that fills that need in me, fills that void. Right? When two individuals seek to become one, they're trying to decrease their magnitude. Right? They're saying, I'm not the Son of God. I need this union to be complete. So he says, you're decreasing your magnitude. Right? That's all. He's not telling you not to get married, not to have friends, not to have girlfriends, boyfriends. Not telling you to do that. Right? Just notice what you're doing. Just notice what you're doing. And constantly ask the Holy Spirit, constantly ask Jesus, help me to see correctly. Help me to see correctly. All right? Yet the special relationship the ego seeks does not include even one whole person. All right? Just by dint of the fact that it's in the ego thought system, we think we're not whole. Okay? The ego just wants a part of the other and sees only this part and nothing else. All right? You know, some people it's more obvious. You know, I worked for a man one time who said the way to become wealthy, he says, the first thing you have to do is marry a rich woman. I said, okay. Good, great advice. All right? And he was serious. So there's that, blatant special relationship. You fall in love with one part of the person, that part being the bank account. People, they're all over the place. He says, but across the bridge, it's very different. Right? For a time, the body is still seen, but not exclusively, as it is here. The little spark that holds the great rays within it is also visible. And this spark cannot be limited long to littleness. Once you have crossed the bridge, the value of the body is so diminished in your sight that you will see no need at all to magnify it. For you will realize the only value the body has is to enable you to bring your brothers to the bridge with you and to be released together there. Okay? That's the idea of crossing the bridge. On the other side, the body is not the be-all and end-all. Right? It's just, it's visible, but, but what's even more visible is the spark of the great rays, the innocence, the Christ nature. Right? That's more visible. And with that, things become silly, meaningless. Okay? The value of the body is so diminished that you'll see no need at all to magnify it. All right? So you won't have to keep proving its existence and glorifying it. Right? But there is a value for the body still in that condition. Right? And the value the body has is to enable you to bring your brothers to the bridge, to bring them with you, and to be released together. Right? To be released together there. All right? So when we realize that it is a transition in the perspective of reality, right? It's not like we're walking across the Verrazano Bridge or the Brooklyn Bridge or any numerous bridges in Manhattan. All right? It's a transition in our thinking. It's a transition in our perception of reality. And when that perception has changed, the body becomes useful to gather in, all right, everyone, and not by preaching and proselytizing, all right, just by being you, okay, having that connection, having your perception changed, all right, people will be drawn to you and they will see what can happen when your perception is changed, when you go into the mind and ask for the correction. All right? That's how you will bring your brothers to the bridge. Okay? I mean, there's all kinds of ways. Don't let me, say there's only one way of doing things. All right? Because Jesus always says, when you're in that holy instant, if you need to say something, you'll be given the words. All right? If you need to do something, you'll know what to do. All right? But the truth will be coming through you, and it will touch the minds that are around you, and even the minds that are not in close proximity. Paragraph 7, the bridge itself is nothing more than a transition in the perspective of reality. On this side, everything you see is grossly distorted and completely out of perspective. What is little and insignificant is magnified, and what is strong and powerful is cut down to littleness. In the transition, there is a period of confusion, in which a sense of actual disorientation may occur. But fear it not, for it means only that you have been willing to let go your hold on the distorted frame of reference that seems to hold your world together. This frame of reference is built around the special relationship. Without this illusion, there could be no meaning you would still seek here. So without the illusion that the special relationship is going to give me what I want, it says there could be no meaning you would still seek here. Okay? So as we're letting go of our association with the ego, he says you might feel disoriented. All right? Like all of a sudden you don't trust, you don't do this, He says it's a natural thing because you're transitioning out of what you were so used to. Right? Fear it not. It means only that you have been willing to let go of your hold on a distorted frame of reference that seemed to hold your world together. All right? That distorted frame of reference is separation, guilt, and fear of reprisal. Right? That's what holds this world together, and the projection of the guilt. Right? So as we learn to let that go, you might have your shaky days, shaky moments, let's just say. So, and here's another fear that makes people shy away from the holy instant, shy away from meeting with the Holy Spirit and Jesus, and having the blocks to the awareness of love's presence removed, right? Because we think we're going to disappear. Right? So he says, fear not that you will be abruptly lifted up and hurled into reality. Time is kind, and if you use it on behalf of reality, it will keep gentle pace with you in your transition. The urgency is only in dislodging your mind from its fixed position here. This will not leave you homeless and without a frame of reference. The period of disorientation, which precedes the actual transition, is far shorter than the time it took to fix your mind so firmly illusions. Delay will hurt you now more than before, only because you realize it is delay, and that escape from pain is really possible. Find hope and comfort rather than despair in this. You could not long find even the illusion of love in any special relationship here, for you are no longer wholly insane, and you would soon recognize the guilt of self-betrayal for what it is. All right, so if I'm saying I'm going to find what I need in this relationship, no matter what it is, outside of my mind, all right? He says, you know too much. All right, you're not even going to be able to find the illusion of love in that relationship, all right? Because you're no longer wholly insane, and you would soon recognize the guilt of self-betrayal, right? And you realize it for what it is. You tell yourself, I'm lacking something, so you believe you're not the Son of God. That's the betrayal of yourself. All right? And you feel bad about it. Paragraph 9. Nothing you seek to strengthen in the special relationship is really a part of you. Right? And you cannot keep part of the thought system that taught you it was real and understand the thought system that knows what you are. So we can't keep a little bit of the ego thought system. Right? You can't keep that and understand the thought system that knows who you are. All right? Allow yourself to enter that. All right? Allow yourself to enter that stream, as Gangachi would describe it. So it's like entering the stream and floating like a leaf that has fallen into the stream. All right? A gentle stream that brings you to the awareness of yourself. All right? He says you can't keep a part of the ego and understand who you truly are. All right? All right? You have allowed the thought of your reality to enter your mind. Otherwise, you wouldn't be studying this course, reading this course, studying other spiritual paths. Something is drawing you. Right? You've let that thought enter your mind because you invited it, and it will abide with you. Your love for it will not allow you to betray yourself. So the more and more you just come to that sacred space within your mind, all right, the less will it allow you to betray yourself, right? So we won't have to enter into silly arrangements, all right, silly bargains. Right? Your love for it, this thought of who you are, all right, it will not allow you to betray yourself. And you could not enter into a relationship where it could not go with you, for you would not want to be apart from it. Be glad you have escaped the mockery of salvation the ego offered you, and look not back with longing on the travesty it made of your relationships. Now no one need suffer, for you have come too far to yield to the illusion of the beauty and holiness of guilt. Right? Only the wholly insane could look on death and suffering, sickness and despair, and see it thus. What guilt has wrought is ugly, fearful, and very dangerous. See no illusion of truth and beauty there, and be you thankful that there is a place where truth and beauty wait for you. Go on to meet them gladly, and learn how much awaits you for the simple willingness to give up nothing, because it is nothing. Okay? And go to meet them gladly in that holy instant, in the mind. Okay? And learn how much awaits you for the simple willingness to let the ego go, to have the ego retranslated. Because once it's retranslated, once your perception is changed, you'll see, oh, that's silly. I don't really want that. And you'll be able to let it go. Okay? And much awaits you for the simple willingness to give up nothing, which is the ego. It's because it is nothing. All right? The new perspective you will gain, paragraph 11, from crossing over will be the understanding of where heaven is. All right? So that's the new perspective that you will gain. Right. Your understanding of where heaven is. From this side, it seems to be outside and across the bridge. Yet as you cross to join it, it will join with you and become one with you. And you will think in glad astonishment that for all this, you gave up nothing. The joy of heaven, which has no limit, is increased with each light that returns to take its rightful place within it. Wait no longer for the love of God and you. And may the holy instant speed you on the way, as it will surely do, if you but let it come to you. Okay. So the new perspective that you will gain, all right, will be an understanding of where heaven is. And as we go through our day and we ask, and we're willing to have our perspective changed, right? We're willing to see the truth. As we keep practicing that, he said, heaven will come to join with you. Right? All of a sudden it will be just an awareness. The awareness will grow. Okay? So as you cross to join it, it will join with you and become one with you. All right? And as the awarenesses arise in your mind, you'll just chuckle and say, for this, I gave up nothing. I gave up the silly strife of the ego. All right? I gave up nothing. All right? It will come to join you. All right? So, the joy of heaven, which has no limit, is increased with each light that returns to take its rightful place within it. Wait no longer for the love of God and you, and may the holy instant speed you on the way, as it will surely do, if you but let it come to you. Just let it come to you. All right? That breathing out, that nirvana, that letting go. And we let go piecemeal by saying, oh, okay, I see what's happening here. I want to understand what's happening here. Help me to see it. I'm willing to see correctly. It's just that willingness. Right? That's the key. And the holy instant will speed you on your way. Paragraph 12, the Holy Spirit asks only this little help of you. Whenever your thoughts wander to a special relationship, which still attracts you, enter with him into a holy instant, and there let him release you. He needs only your willingness to share his perspective, to give it to you completely. And your willingness need not be complete, because his is perfect. It is his task to atone for your unwillingness by his perfect faith. And it is his faith you share with him there. Out of your recognition of your unwillingness for your release, his perfect willingness is given you. Call upon him, for heaven is at his call, and let him call on heaven for you. Okay? Whenever you notice yourself tempted to go into a special relationship, right, no matter what it is, okay, enter with him in a holy instant. Just very quickly, in an instant, help me to see correctly. I'm willing to see this correctly. Right? And there, let him release you in that holy instant in the mind. And he needs only your willingness. All right? Only your willingness to share his perspective. I just need to be willing. I'm willing to have your perspective. And he says he will give it to you completely. And your willingness need not be complete because his is perfect. Okay? So, out of your recognition of your unwillingness for your release, his perfect willingness is given you. And Jesus advises us, call on him. Call on him, for heaven is at his call. He's connected. Okay? And let him call on heaven for you. All right? Help me to see correctly. All right? And that's how we cross the bridge, as it were, by going to the holy instant and asking, being willing to have our perspective changed. All right? The bridge itself is nothing more than a transition, all right, in the perspective of reality. So my perspective of reality all of a sudden is in transition. It's changing. And that's what I desire, right? Because I'm used to seeing things through the eyes of the ego. And that's bondage, all right? Okay. That is the bridge to the real world, all right? That bridge is going to the holy instant, changing the perspective. And truth arises in the mind, right? Which is what he means by heaven comes to join with you. All right? And remember, you don't disappear. All right? Your body will still be useful, all right? To be a beacon of love and truth. So, as I feel like we've answered the call of James Brown, we have taken you to the bridge. Okay. So, thank you for being here. All right. And I look forward to our next session. And see you on the bridge. All righty then. Bye.